Hey everyone, my name is Red. I work as one of the CSMs here at Gong. I'm on our mid-market team working with around 30 or so customers at any given time. And today's video is really around how I as a CSM use Gong in my day-to-day and any tidbits and nuggets that I can share that might help you, whether you're CSM and account management or any sort of similar function. Before Gong, I was an avid note taker, a lot of pen and paper, and would have notes for every single meeting and just notebooks after notebooks filled with all these notes. And that worked for a while, but in terms of, say, having a QBR or some important meeting coming up and then quickly needing to find all the important bullets from those past calls would take me a really long time. I'd have to kind of scrounge through all these different notebooks and try to figure out what I needed quickly, and it was definitely a time suck. So a lot of what I'm going to talk through today is how I kind of alleviated some of that concern and how I've kind of been able to address that pain point by using the information and the activities that Gong stores. So with that, let's jump into the platform here. And the first thing I'll usually do is I'll just type in the name of the company that I'm trying to get more information on, and then click into that. And what that will do is it'll actually take us to a hub that's going to have all of our emails, all of our call conversations, literally just a history of the account. And what you can do from here is type in what exactly you're looking for. So maybe I just want to know the last time like goals or priorities were brought up by someone on either side of the conversation. What that'll do is it'll quickly give me a list of all of these touch points where either in the call or the email this happened, and then I can kind of skim through these logs here. Or if there was a call, what I can actually do as well is just jump to that call, listen to this specific snippet where this is mentioned, and ideally get some information from there. Another thing I'll do is I'll also type in maybe pricing if, say, we have a renewal conversation coming up and I just want to be sharp on maybe who was a tough negotiator in the last conversation, or if I wasn't part of it, just quickly getting, what was promised or what happened in that previous conversation or touch point. So those are two things that I'll do really quickly. Other than that, sometimes I'll just toggle this calls only button on and just find the last call or two that I had and skim through those, play those, and just make sure that it feels sharp in my mind. Just having a lot of customers you're working with, sometimes you lose track of those finer points or details that really do make a difference when having that conversation with the customer. So that's like one quick way that I'll kind of maximize that note-taking function in Gong. The other piece is if I go into like an individual call here, there's a couple of things that you can do to quickly get what you need, and then also escalate this out to other parties. So one, same function, I'll quickly just type in what I might be looking for within this call, find exactly that point where it happened, and then maybe I'll jump to this part and just listen to that to get what I need. So I'm not listening to this full hour and a half here. The other piece of this that I do all the time is this comment section here is super powerful. So anytime that I can minimize the amount of emails that I'm sending internally back and forth and just trying to, strategize over an account, the better for me. Because as you can imagine, probably for most CSMs, honestly, your inbox is just inundated already. So this just helps to save some time. So typically what I'll do here is there's a number of powerful things that we've incorporated Gong within this comments section. So say maybe I'm listening to this part of a call. Whoops. And then I'll pause it here. And something interesting happened here. So notice the timestamp already hits around that 49-minute mark. Great. So now what I can do is I'll just quickly use the @ sign and start typing in whoever I want to escalate this to. So in some cases, it's my manager just to talk through like a negotiation or a tough conversation that was had, or just bring awareness to something that happened on the call. Or even it could be something around like a coaching skill or something that we're working on together, just showing like, hey, here's something that I did. What are your thoughts? And then we'll bring it into our one-on-one, talk through it, or she might even just comment right in this chat here, and we'll kind of just have a conversation around the call itself. The other two things that I love doing are basically tagging our product managers on anything like related to like something that's happening in the platform, new feature request. I'll just figure out who the PM is for that specific function, type in their name, and just have something like interesting talk track or interesting or around our product or anything like that. Or maybe it's a feature request and I want to get visibility to that PM. So rather than me having to write that email, kind of summarize what was said, I can just quickly tag them here. They can come in, listen to that segment of the call, and maybe let me know on an ETA for a feature, or just kind of take that feedback and incorporate it into maybe the roadmap. Final piece is I can also just tag support as well. So I can either tag in the rep's name, the support rep's name specifically, or we also have a workflow where I can just type in support ticket essentially and just create a ticket. But either way, what it'll do is once again take this little snippet of the call, push it to support. I'll give some context around what happened, and that way it's triaged over there versus me having to once again write another email, summarize what happened, and kind of move on. So super powerful. I use this all the time, especially if I just had a call and know there's 5-6 things that need to get taken care of. Me just tagging it up here versus waiting till the end of the day, where might just not get to it or might forget and it just won't be fresh on my mind. Just once again saves me the need to kind of recap or figure out exactly what happened. The last thing that I love to do, and I just from talking to other CSMs at Gong as well as outside of Gong, just is huge, is within any of your calls, if you click this points of interest button, you're going to see this action items button pop up right here. So really quickly, it's what we're doing is we're picking up on any language where you promise to deliver on something or promise to send something or any sort of follow-up. So you can quickly skim through all the things that you promised on this call. And if you're anything like me, you do a lot of your follow-ups at a given block of time. I do mine at the end of the day. So seeing all of these like action items for each of my calls just really quickly allows me to, oh, that's right, I said I would do X, Y, and Z for this account, and add that to my follow-up email to that customer and kind of do that all in one big kind of block. The other cool thing about this is it also sends you an email after your call happened with those action items on the call. So I won't even mark those calls transcribed or calls that have been recorded as read until I've clicked into them, seen the action items, and then use those in my follow-up email. So almost kind of works as a inbox to-do list for me. So once again, all of this is really around just being fresh with your customers and then fresh with them when doing follow-up or engaging or even escalating to different parties internally. The last thing that I'll just call out quickly is just finding that time to really maximize and ensure that you're continuing to grow your skill set and get better. I know as a CSM, it's really hard for me to block out time where I'm actually working on my skills, just because your customers, your internal needs, other projects you're taking on just kind of suck up your day. But really by living what we preach to our customers, we can shore up our performance and really get better at very succinct talk tracks in areas that we want to improve on. So I know one thing that I'll do on any given period of time, usually once a week, I'll have a little bit of time where I just block off. But what I'll do is I'll find in this call section here, type in my manager's name so we get my team, and I'll find 1 or 2 calls from my peers on my team that I know either had really strong calls or are good at a skill that I'm working on. Maybe they're really sharpening out, some of the talk tracks or questions or things that are brought up on QBRs. What I can really do is kind of just skim through the calls and see if there's anything interesting, like a strategy session maybe from a rep that I know I want to maybe incorporate or learn from. And then what I'll do is I'll listen to that call on 2x speed, maybe take a note or two on specific areas I want to work on and add that back to my talk track. Another thing that I love to do is also pick out like one or two like sales calls from like some of our top performers on the sales team and just really understand how they're maybe pitching Gong to their prospects, and some of those kind of like moments that could still be useful or incorporated into a CS talk track. So it doesn't have to necessarily just be exclusive to your team. So you can just use that host section and quickly type in whoever you might be looking for. Maybe it was a big deal that just closed or a renewal that just closed, whatever, and getting that information and then going and listening to that call. So I know I just kind of walked through a ton. So really quickly, I want to just give you a couple of takeaways that you can start using immediately and just summarize. So one, thinking about Gong as a note taker, this repository of all this information that you can quickly use and incorporate, whether it's for QBRs, internal handoffs, renewals, pricing negotiations. Second piece is being able to take that information on calls and escalate to support, to product, to your manager quickly without the need to write yet another email. And third piece is really just finding that block of time, wherever that might be, to listen to some sales calls, some CS calls from top performers and figure out what are those 1 to 2 areas that you can use to really shore up and ensure that you're kind of incrementally improving your skills and not just reacting all the time to your day or the things that are kind of top of mind for you. So just picking out those 1 to 2 things that are going to make your life a lot easier and won't have that much friction in terms of like change management for you. Start small, get those things incorporated, and then as you get more and more comfortable, you'll naturally explore the platform or find other areas that are interesting or things that other people on your team are doing that might be valuable for you as well. So hope this was helpful. These are kind of some of the main nuggets that I use in my day-to-day, and hopefully, it's stuff that you can start to think about and ideally use within your workflows as well. Thanks.